Hi everyone, and thank you so much for attending today's seminar. So at PsyChat this week, we were very lucky to have two colleagues visiting us from the Politecnica University of Valencia. So we had Dr. Anastasia Giachanou, and as well as Professor Paolo Rosso. They are from the PRHLT Research Center, which is the Pattern Recognition and Human Language Technology Research Center at Valencia. And Anastasia is going to present to us her very interesting research on fake news detection with content and social information. So,
hello. Well, I am Anastasia Giachanou, and today I'm going to present research on fake news detection with content and social information. So I'm going to present some of our research, but also some of the state-of-the-art research in the field. Well, just a bit of background for me. Originally, I'm from Thessaloniki, from Greece. I did there my bachelor in computer science in Adversarial University. Then I moved to Glasgow for 1 year. I did my master in University of Glasgow in information retrieval. After that, I did my PhD in University of Lugano in Switzerland. I was a member of the group of information retrieval. And last year I graduated and I moved for my postdoc in Politecnica University of Valencia. Where I work under the project of early fake news detection on social media of the group of Valeros. So, to introduce you to the problem, so fake news, it's actually now a problem that has attracted a lot of attention. However, it's not a new problem. It's an old problem. As we can see, there were a lot of fake news propagated in the newspapers, and a typical example is in 1950s that there was actually a news about aliens that were captured by US agents, and a lot of people were terrified, and actually they believed this news. However, these days, with social media, we have anonymity, and also we have ease of publishing content from users. Now news are propagated on social media very fast. So all the consequences of fake news has actually become even worse. Nowadays, fake news is viewed as one of the greatest threats to democracy, to justice, to public trust, freedom of expression, journalism, and economy. So the damages, they are on different fields, and I will just show you some of the most, some examples of the consequences of fake news. One case has to do in the health domain. So according to several studies, the number of measles cases are increasing every year, even if it was a disease that had been almost eradicated. And this is actually due to one cause is the increasing number of inaccurate information that is propagated about vaccines. Then another case, it's the famous Pizzagate case. So there were fake news propagated in social media about a restaurant that they were actually doing some human trafficking. This news went viral, and then a man actually went and there were gun shootings because of this fake news. So we can see that it's actually a problem that has a lot of consequences. So now I would like to tell more about the definitions of fake news. So what is fake news? There have been different definitions. One of these says that fake news is intentionally and verifiable false news published by different news outlets. However, this definition has some limitations because it doesn't capture all the different types of fake news. So another definition says that fake news is a news article or messages published and propagated through media carrying false information regardless the means and motives behind it. So there are cases that the motives behind some news it's not to harm. However, these news, they are propagated in social media. People actually believe them. People intentionally or unintentionally share them. But still, they are fake news because they can have also consequences on society. We can roughly classify fake news depending on the intention to harm. So we have three different types. We have misinformation. So here we have unintentional mistakes. For example, inaccurate photo or maybe a change of a date or a change of a text. Even when satire is taken seriously. So there are different kinds of satire articles that they are propagated in social media. Some people believe them and they actually are propagated. Then we have disinformation. So here we have deliberately manipulated audio or visual content. And here we have intentionally, for example, conspiracy theories or rumors or fake news. And finally, we have the malinformation. So here again, we have the intention to, this content is created with the intention to harm. And here we can also include hate speech, that there is an intentional actually to people to hurt and to harm others. And also we can classify fake news depending on the type of article. So we have satire, but here the intention is not to harm. We have propaganda, that they are publications, and usually they are aimed to political news, to politicians. We have rumors that they are mostly inaccurate claims about specific persons. We have hoaxes that they are usually paranoia-fueled stories, and clickbait that they actually try to attract, to make people to click on these articles. So recently there has been a lot of research on fake news detection, and different approaches have been proposed. So in this part of my presentation, I am going to present you some of the state-of-the-art approaches that have been used to detect fake news online. So to detect fake news, one of the most important information is the content. So we have one of the most famous hypotheses is the Untitled hypothesis, that says that fake news, they differ in writing style from real news. So fake news are written intentionally to attract the attention of users and also to deceive users. So in this way, there are different linguistic cues that they are used, or there are different emotions that they try to trigger to users. Topics that they are used also are different. So one of the most important information that we are using to detect fake news is the content of the articles, textual content, but also visual cues. Also, users can play a very important role in fake news detection, since they play a very, very critical role, because they are those that they believe the news and then they share the news, either intentionally or unintentionally. The role of users, we can actually find it in the creation of news, in the propagation, and also intervention. One of the most important information that we can use from users is the way that they actually propagate some news, or we can estimate the credibility of users. So, for example, there are users that they keep sharing fake news, while there are users that they're sharing more real news, and they are considered more credible. One very popular study, it's from Vasugi et al. So in this study, they have analyzed, they explored the spread of true and false news online. So here, these authors, they analyzed rumors that they were propagated in Twitter from 2006 to 2017, so for 11 years. They have collected around 126,000 rumors. And what they found is that first, false news, they could reach more people than the true news. So the top 1% of false news diffused between 1,000 and 100,000 people, while true news, they were rarely diffused to more than 1,000 people. So we can see that the fake news actually are propagated more and to more people. Also, they found that fake news, they were propagated faster than the true news. In terms of the rate of propagation, the novelty and the emotional reactions could actually have played a role. So here we see some of the analysis that they have done in their study. So they have analyzed the number of followers, the number of following. So their data is from Twitter, so they are using different characteristics of tweets. If the user is verified or not, and when actually the account is created. So in all these cases, they have found that there is a difference between fake news and real news. Also, they have analyzed the novelty of the tweets that they contain fake news and the novelty of those that they contain real news. And again, they found that there is a difference. So fake news, they are more novel than the real news. Also, in this graph, they show the emotional reactions. So the green is the real news, while the red is the fake news. So we can see that for different emotions, there is a difference between fake and real news. So, for example, for surprise, we have a higher amount of surprise reactions in the fake news compared to real news. Also, the same with disgust. While, for example, we see for the emotions of joy and trust, we have a higher amount in real news compared to fake news. So now I'm going to present some of the state-of-the-art approaches and also our own research on the detection of fake news using the content of articles. So one recent study that is called Separating Facts from Fiction, and it's about using linguistic cues to differentiate between suspicious and trusted news. So in this study, the authors, they have tried to predict satire, hoaxes, clickbait, and propaganda. They have used a collection that they collected from Twitter. First, they are using a list of propaganda accounts, and then they are using the Twitter Firehouse API to collect tweets 1 week before and 1 week after the Brussels bombings. So the model they propose is based on deep learning. So they combine textual and linguistic cues. So in one branch, we have different linguistic cues and network cues. These are subjectivity. So if there are strongly or weakly subjective words that they actually represent emotion and sentiment. They also use different cues from the psycho-linguistic dictionary, that is called Luke. So look contains few thousand of words that they are actually categorized on different types, and they refer to different psychological or linguistic cues. Also, they use words that they refer to care and harm and fairness, to bias, and also they use cues that they refer to networks, to social graph networks. These linguistic cues from this branch, they are combined with textual features, that they are textual embeddings, that they are extracted from the articles, from the posts, Then these two different vectors are concatenated together to actually have the final output prediction if the specific article is a hoax, satire, propaganda, or clickbait. As I already mentioned, emotions, they play a very critical role in the detection of the different types of fake news. So here, the authors propose to use different emotional signals to detect if an article is satire, false propaganda, clickbait, or real news. They create a collection. They collect articles from different. They collect news articles and also posts that they are published in Twitter. In total, they have around 30,000 news articles and 150,000 tweets. So further, to detect the different emotional signals, they use a range of emotional lexicons and sentiment lexicons. So they are using Loop, the linguistic dictionary. They are using two different categories from here, positive and negative. Also, they are using lexicons, state-of-the-art lexicons like Emolex, Emocenticneck, and Empath. To extract the emotions from the articles in the tweets. Their methodology is based on a neural network. So in one branch, there is the emotions frequency, depending on the words that they appear in the news and in the tweet. And then on the other branch, there are the word embeddings. That they are fed into an LSTM model. Then these two different vectors are combined together, and then they are passed through softmax equations to predict if the specific news article or tweet is from these categories. In another study, we tried also to use the emotions that they are in the different news articles to see if we can use these cues to classify if a specific news article is credible or not, if a claim is credible or not. So we are using an LSTM-based system, and we use articles that we collected from Politecnica. That is a website that different news articles and different claims are classified as credible or not by experts. We combine the emotional signals that we extracted from the claims with word embeddings, and the two vectors, then they are passed to a sigmoid to have the final score that shows if a specific claim is credible or not. In this study, we examined three different approaches to calculate the emotional signals. The two first, Emolexi and Emoint, they are based on lexicons, while the last one, it's based on emotional reactions of Facebook. So the first approach we use to extract the emotional reactions from the claims, It's based on emotional lexicons, and we calculate the frequency of different words to find the amount of emotional signals in one claim. The MOINT is based again on a lexicon, but instead of frequencies, we use the intensity, since different words have different emotional intensity. The final approach we explore, it's called MOReact, and this is based on a CNN network. We are using articles from New York Times that they were published on Facebook, and we take the emotional reactions of the users that they are actually that the different users put on under these articles, like if the reactions were love, joy, surprise, sadness, and anger, the 5 emotional reactions provided by Facebook. We train this network, and then we apply it on the claims that we collect from Politecnica. Another study, also they have tried to see the effectiveness of different linguistic cues. In this study, the authors, first they try to see the performance, the effectiveness of lexicon level features, so based on the frequency of the terms. Also, they explore syntax level, like part of speech, if a specific word is adjective or noun. Semantic level also features, like the readability, if a specific article, the level of readability of an article, and also discourse level features. For the study, they use also news that they took from Politecnica and BuzzFeed. For the content quality, they have informality, subjectivity, and diversity. So some examples are the number of swear words that they appear in the articles, or the number of net speak. Also, they are counting the number of unique words that they appear in the articles, or the number of unique nouns or verbs. They explore sentiment as well, number of positive words, negative words, and silent words. The quantity, how many characters, how many words. Also, they explore cognitive processes. So if the articles have words that they show causation or certainty, and perceptual processes. These categories, they, in order to count the level of cognitive processes or perceptual processes, they use EANN dictionary. Apart from the claim itself, it's also very useful to see, we have the content of the articles in the claim. However, it's also, sometimes it's very difficult to see if a specific article is credible or not, or if it's fake or not, just on the content. So, one study, they try to explore also the effectiveness of evidence that they can extract from search engines. So in this study, the authors want to check the credibility of claims. To create their collection, they use claims that they took from Snow's Politecnica, News Trust, and Rumor-Eval, that it's a shared task. And then after that, they are passing each claim as a query to Bing search engine, and they retrieve the top 30 search results. And they are also using information from these top 30 search results to see if a specific claim is credible or not. So here we see the methodology that they propose. So it's a neural network based methodology. So they have, first they use the claim word embedding. and also the article word embeddings. So the claim is just one claim of one politician, while the article word embeddings are extracted using, they are based on these top 30 search results that they actually extracted. Then they also, they are using the source embedding, so they also propose to use the credibility of specific sources. So according to that, if a specific result is retrieved from a site that is credible, then also the article tends to be credible, while if the result of the page is from random blogs that they are not very credible, then also this will have an impact on the credibility of this specific claim. Then the different vectors that they are actually created, they are combined together, they concatenated, and they are passed into a softmax layer to have the final credibility score that says if a specific claim is credible or not. Apart from the textual content, also it's very useful to extract features from images. So a lot of times the articles, they come with different visual cues, either images or videos. And some researchers try to extract information from the images that the articles come with. So in this study, event adversarial neural networks for multimodal fake news detection, the authors propose a multimodal feature extractor. And the aim is twofold. They want to detect if an article is fake or not with the fake news detector, but also they want to detect the different types of events using the event discriminators. So here we see the architecture of the system that they have proposed. We have two different branches. So first we have the word embedding that is based on the text. That is passed into a text CNN component, and then they create the text feature, the vector of the text here. Then they also take features from the images of the articles. They use a tool that is called VGG19, and they extract the visual features. These different vectors are combined together, and then as an output, they have either the fake news detector, that is a score that predicts the credibility of the article, if it's fake or not. And on the other side, they have also the event discriminator that says predicts the type of this specific event. So in this part, I'm going to present also some of the studies that they have been done on examining the role of users in fake news detection. So as I mentioned also before, users actually play a very critical role in the propagation and in the detection of fake news. That's why we were interested to see the role of users in this field. In this study, we wanted to understand and compare the different profile and psycholinguistic patterns of the users that they actually tend to support and share conspiracy theories. In this study, we were interested to answer to three different questions. First, we wanted to explore the profile characteristic of users that they are more likely to believe conspiracy theories. We also wanted to analyze the different psycholinguistic characteristics of users that they are more likely to believe conspiracy theories. And finally, we wanted to see which are the most effective characteristics that we can use to differentiate between conspiracy supporters and opponents. So for this study, we are creating a collection using tweets. So to create our collection, we use different hashtags. So we have the hashtags that they are used from users that they are in favor of conspiracy theories, like vaccines cause autism, or anti-vax, NASA lies, or NASA fake, or moon landing is fake. On the other side, we have hashtags that they are used from users that they don't believe in conspiracy theories, like vaccines work or vaccines save lives. In total, we managed to collect 900,000 tweets for each of these two categories. And we had around 1,000 users for each of these different categories, less than 1,000 for each one. Once we collected these tweets, we also did some filtering because there were some specific hashtags, for example, that they were used from both types of users. Like anti-vax, also it's used a lot from users that they tend to refute conspiracy theories. So then we analyzed the different profile characteristics of users that they tend to support and users that they tend to refute conspiracy theories. The first thing we see is in this graph that we have the verified and unverified users. So what we see is that users that they are verified are more likely to refute conspiracies, so they don't believe in conspiracy theories. Also here we see when the different accounts were created, and what we actually can see from this graph is that the opponents tend to have old accounts, so actually most of the users that they tend to refute conspiracies, not to believe in conspiracies, they have older accounts. This is because in the case of supporters, from users that they support conspiracy theories, we have a lot of bot accounts that they are created just to propagate fake news and conspiracy. We also analyze the number of statuses, number of favorites, number of followers, and number of friends between supporters and opponents. One interesting thing is here in the followers, we have that the supporters actually have 9 times less followers than the opponents. And this is again because people that they actually support conspiracy theories, they are users that are not verified or they have newer accounts. Also, supporters of conspiracy theories, they have less statuses, favorites, and friends. Another thing that we analyzed is the personality traits, so between supporters and opponents. So to analyze the personality traits, we use the IBM Watson tool and the text from the users. What we found is that opponents, so users that they don't believe in conspiracy theories, they had a higher score in agreeableness, consciousness, and extroversion compared to believers. We also try to analyze the different psycholinguistic cues between and to compare between opponents and supporters. So here we found that opponents, they actually exhibit higher usage of work, leisure, money, home and death, while supporters, they concern more about religion. So they actually, people that believe in conspiracy theories tend to talk more about religion than the other types of information. Also, we see that both supporters and opponents, they focus more on present rather than past and future. And supporters also tend to use more swear words compared to opponents. So here we see that they actually they tend to use more swear words than opponents, and this difference is also, they are statistically different. They are statistical significant differences. Another interesting observation is that the users that they refute conspiracy theories, they exhibit higher users in causation compared to supporters. So one explanation is maybe they try to give more reasonable arguments when they try to refute the conspiracy theories. In order to see if these different cues are actually helpful in differentiating between supporter and opponent, we propose the ConspiDetector. So we have manual features that we extract using Luke and using also the IBM Watson tool, the personality trait. And here we have the embeddings layer based on pre-trained word embeddings. We are using a coevolution neural network, and we use a sigmoid layer to have for the prediction of the score, to see if a specific user is a supporter of conspiracy theories or opponent. So in this part, I will focus on the different evaluation tasks and data sets that they have been proposed, and that they can actually be used, and they have been used to do research. So how we annotate the fake news, and how can we know if one specific news is fake or not? There are two different ways to do it, either manually or automatically, or a bit more automatically. So one way to annotate fake news is to use the experts. In this way, it's easier to manage. We have more credibility, so we know that this annotation is credible. However, we can collect only some few annotations. Another way is to use crowdsource, which is more difficult to manage. We don't know the credibility, so we can actually end up with very low, with a lot of noise. However, it's more time effective, and we can collect more annotations. So the way that the collections are created are actually based on some websites. Like PolitiFact, Notes, FactCheck, and Truth or Fiction. So these websites, they have different news or different claims that they are published online, and then they have experts that they are usually journalists that they go through these articles and they say if a specific article is fake or maybe it's possibly fake. For example, Politecnica has 6 different labels. So here we see there is a claim, which is then, it can be passed into some social media like Twitter, and then we can collect tweets that they are about this claim, and so we can then collect also data about the users. One collection that has been proposed, it's called Fakenewsnet. So it can be used for fake news detection in social media news content. So to create this collection, the authors, they have used a list of fake and true news from PolitiFact and Gossip. and then they query Google search engines to actually extract the news articles. They also do the same to Twitter using Twitter API to get also some information about the users. So here we see the flowchart of the process they use. So we have PolitiFact crawler and gossip crawler. So these news are already labeled. Then we have news that they are already labeled, and then they can actually be passed to a search engine or add to a social media network like Twitter. So here in the Twitter, we can also take information about the users and the network. And in this way, they create a very big collection with news articles, social content, also some visual content. Also, there are a lot of share tasks, evaluation tasks that they have been proposed. Some examples are the fake news challenge in 2017, rumor eval that it was in 2017 and 19. Check that, profiling fake news spreaders that it will be in 2020, and a lot more evaluation share tasks that they have been proposed in recent years. So just some examples. Rumor eval in 2019. The task was to determine if the rumor veracity, if it's true or false. The collection was based on Twitter and Reddit corpuses, and there are actually threads of tweets or Reddit posts. The best system used a neural network, and some features that they used is the source content analysis, the account credibility, based also on the reply account credibility, stamps of replies, the topic domain, and also propagation path analysis. Another share task that it was again in 2019. It was about predicting the factuality of Arabic claims using the provided web pages. So, given a claim, you want to see the factuality, if it's true, false, or it's not true. So the best system was based on a cross-lingual approach. First, we trained a textual entailment system on English, and then the Arabic embeddings, they were projected on English space. And here we see the architecture of the system. So we have the textual entailment, then we have first the claim, then we retrieve the evidence, we rank the evidence based on the relevance, and finally we have textual entailment. Another task that is going to be at CLE 2020. It's going to be organized from our group. So it's going to be Paolo, me, another colleague, and then Francisco Rahel, and also Bilal Ghanem, and a PhD student. So we are going to have a task at CLE 2020 about profiling fake news spreaders on Twitter. So this task, we want to detect the users that they tend to spread fake and real news. And they, given a Twitter feed, determine whether the author is about to be a fake news spreader or if he's going to share more real news. So about future work on this field, I would like to one line that needs a bit more research, that is underexplored. It's the detection of intention. So different types of articles of fake news, they have also different intentions. So the satire, for example, that they don't intend to harm, while there are fabricated news that the intention is to harm. So trying to detect the intention to harm is something that has not been explored. In this case, we can have a more fine-grained classification of information based on the intention. Also, it's worth to investigate, for example, the differences between satire or opinion news, or the classification between fake versus satire news, or fake versus hyper-partisan news. Finally, another research line that can be explored is cross-domain, cross-topic, and cross-language research. So some interesting questions that they can be explored is how similar is the writing style between the different types of fake news, or if it's possible to find some patterns between fake news within different domains or within different topics or languages. Also, for example, are there topics that that are more popular in fake news that they are published in a specific country, and are fake news different in the different countries? Also, develop techniques that they can actually do cross-domain, cross-topic, or cross-language fake news detection. So until now, most of this research has focused on one specific domain or on one specific language. So more research actually is needed in more cross-domain and cross-language fake news detection. So with this slide, I'm actually concluding my presentation on fake news. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Do you have any questions?
And on the platform as well, if anyone has any. Okay, I'll ask one then to start things going. So this bit about determining the intention is really, really interesting, but it strikes me as really, really difficult. And I guess I just, first of all, are there any data sets available at this point in time for, have ground truth? And do you have ideas of how you could go about constructing such a data set?
No, I think it's very challenging. I am not aware of any collection that is, can be used for the intention, for what has been created to detect the intention. For sure, I know that there are news, or there are things that they are said actually, and then people say, okay, that was just a joke, so the intention was not too hard. So I think it's possible to create a collection by trying to find, for example, some prior news that they went viral, and people actually started sharing them or believing them, while there are specific types that they are, the intention is to harm. Yeah, I think it's challenging, but it's actually something that it could be done. Yep.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of the meeting at the school. I don't know, so I don't know what you talked about at the beginning, but my question is, are you developing algorithms to detect fake news, and how easy is that? I mean, is it based on words that we can trust, or that we cannot trust? How do you around it?
Yeah, we are developing methods so they can detect fake news and real news, or credible news and not credible news or claims. Right now, we're using the textual content of the claims, and we try to extract emotions, because one of the studies suggested that fake and real news, they have different emotions. For example, fake news, they tend to trigger surprise to users, while real news, they tend to trigger trust or joy. And so what we have done in one of the approaches is to extract the emotional signals with emotional lexicons. So we...
What is this?
Yeah, there are dictionaries. So there are actually lists of words that say, for example, the word, if in your text you find the word excited, then this is related to the emotion of joy. If you find a word like, I don't know, sad or depressed, it's more related to the sadness. So if these specific words appear in the text, we actually count the frequency of those words in our text. And then we use these vectors in neural networks to learn to differentiate between fake news and real news. I don't know if I made myself clear.
I understand. I was just wondering how close to objective the lexicon be.
These lexicons are actually a state-of-the-art ways to calculate emotions and sentiments from text. Of course, there is some noise there, but it's one of the state-of-the-art ways to do it.
Is it possible to use the word sad, for example, and be real?
No, it's possible. It's possible. We create the frequency vectors, and then the algorithm, the machine learning algorithm, learns which one is more, which news are actually more correlated with sadness or with joy. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, in one way, yeah. Yeah. Of course, then if the topic, for example, is different, the lexicons, they cover a wide range of the emotions and the topics, but there are, of course, words that they're more subjective or they're more related to topics. And then you can have other more sophisticated approaches like train another algorithm on your data and apply it. But yeah, most of the approaches, they use the lexicons.
Okay, of course. Okay, well, I was looking forward to listening to Anastasia, because recently she gave a keynote at the conference on the same topic, so I really enjoyed it. This is my first time I listened to this keynote. And so thanks, we were very lucky to have Anastasia in our lab, as you can see. And okay, with respect to one of the works you mentioned, a very recent work of this year, Zuadala, 2019, I didn't have the time to read it yet. And yeah, they seem to approach the problem in a very interesting way, taking into account the cognitive process. And you mentioned also sensationalism score, and how was it, maybe you don't remember, but just curiosity, how was it calculated? I mean, was it asked by someone to read and to give a score, and then they come up with an average score?
Which one?
I don't know, I wrote it down because
here.
Where you mentioned the sensationalist scores somewhere. Yes, at the semantic level, the people.
Yeah.
So how was this couple, if you remember?
Yeah,
of course, it's very.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I don't remember. I don't want to say something that is wrong. Yeah.
It's interesting to understand if an annotation process was done by someone.
Yeah.
But we can, sorry for asking you this. Just to be glad about the working place. But we can educate it later on.
Can I ask something? When you say words related to emotion, do you also, because sometimes you can be sad and have got feelings. Can you use something that is defined as trigger words? You know, something that, you know, elicits a response of a certain kind. Or images, for example. The use of images for children. How do you use, you know, this type of visual cues in a way to elicit a response from the person? And how do you do it across languages? But then in the end, you said, you know, there's still work to be done on that. Because, you know, every way I speak different languages. You have reactions to different things across cultures. You know, what triggers an Italian, where the specific thing that is very, it links the background of the person. And it might be different to what triggers other people. So I just wanted to know if you consider this as a work.
And until now, we have not considered, but it's something that, yeah, it's, I think it's very useful because it's true that people in different countries, they are triggered from different lexical cues. And also, I think that different types of news, for example, or different types of fake news are shared in different countries. So I think it's something that it could be very helpful, but we have not done any research until now. And one of the future works that we want to do is taking into account some visual cues, so extracting, trying to understand what is in the image, and maybe also find the similarity between the image and the news and the content of the news, and see how much if it can be helpful for detecting.
Can I ask you, I really like the work on the role of the users and how you look at the personalities of people who are likely to spread fake news versus not, and good luck with that. I think it's looks like a really nice work. It occurred to me that, you know, these findings could be very useful in terms of some of the things that we do, for example, like raising people's awareness about different issues and try to get them to be more critical when they're using interactive technology. But that would require that the findings are stable. Do you have reason to believe that they're pretty stable, or do you think that the characteristics of people who spread the fake news might be different over time or in different contexts? Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. So if maybe I don't understand 100% the question. So
do you feel like the findings are pretty stable, or
in terms of personality?
In terms of personality and their, I guess you look at like the characteristics of their profiles, their their connections.
So the profile characteristics, yes, I feel they okay. I don't have any reason not to believe that they're not stable, because there are also some past studies focusing maybe on rumors, or so there have been few studies, also studies on bots, but it has shown that, for example, the accounts when the account it was created, it's a very important information because bots or users that they share fake news, they create accounts recently just for this purpose, or they can have a lot of statuses. For example, they share the same thing 1,000 times the same day. So a user will not share this thing. With account, yes, the traits. It's a bit more. Because the traits, we actually use the tweets of the users, and then we use the tool of the IBM Watson, depending on the things that they are actually posting on Twitter. So of course, studies that they try to find personality traits using some questionnaires and some questions that they have been established in research in other fields. You have more, stable results, and so I don't know how much knowledge also there are in these findings. IBM Watson tool, it's kind of accurate, but still we are using the text of the users. We don't use the questionnaires. So that's one of the limitations of the work of this work, for example.
And it's proprietary, so we don't know exactly what features it's using of the text to infer the personality, I guess.
Yes, or maybe a user is posting some things and then have a different kind of profile when they post that tweet. But maybe the personality is different, when they go out, or because it's we use the users, but we are based on the text that they're published on Twitter. This has a bit of limitation.
Sure. Any other questions?
I have one, sorry, just curiosity. Do you know if there are studies that have been done to link the type of statements and political orientation?
No.
For example, you have misinformation, disinformation, and monitoring. Can you, have anyone looked at what is most according to your political theory?
I haven't read something like that.
There are some partisan and hyper-partisan biases, and so there was a recently received task organized that was organized by some German colleagues in order to see if the news, in order to find out the political orientation of the news. But yes, it would be interesting. These were supposed to be truthful news. So the reason that we studied, I think it would be interesting. Yes, indeed.
Okay. I have a question. During your research, did you happen to come across with fake news coming from trustworthy sources? And how much is the impact of this?
What?
From trusted resources. Trusted users. Consider it as a trusted user. How much is the impact of this research? I say this one.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be from a user that you may put in a theory claim, and all people are fake news. That's one. And how much is the impact?
Yeah.
Not to your research, but okay, to the site is clear how it's going to be. But perhaps or not may change the results.
For sure, it will change the results because a lot of approaches they are based on the credibility of the news source that is published. The credibility is high, so
this out. How about the rest of them? You calculate.
Right.
If you come across.
Yeah, I haven't came across, and I haven't analyzed this kind of in this direction a lot, because most of my research was based on using sentiment and emotions and the role of users, while we didn't use other credibility. We tried to, in one study, to also calculate credibility, but it didn't help. So the trustworthiness. Yeah, I don't know. I cannot, personally, I cannot put it in numbers and stuff, or.
I think this is what Paolo's discussion the other day about the influencers. I mean, so if you have an influencer and he or she is fake news, I mean, what is the
I think it's more on the side.
Like to have an society. We all need a lot of times when you have a war, a lot of people that they present themselves like journalists, they produce news, but some of the news are very well hidden in a trustful resource, or they are hidden behind the work they do. But as a whole, the news that they reported is not true. Can you get someone like me, not a specialist, detect this kind of news, and how can you do it on everyday life?
So if someone, it's a journalist working, I don't know, on a very credible, but then
he or she may be on a table at his office and produces news.
Yeah.
Claiming that he's found the war, he's standing out there, and introducing fake news. And then this is true.
Yeah, when the content is published from very, very trustful websites, one way to do it is, for example, using some evidence from search engines. So one line of approaches, they have tried to extract the sentences and check them, for example, with evidence that it can be retrieved from the web. So the more you actually retrieve and you check that it's there, you can actually increase the probability that this specific news is true. While, for example, if there is a specific claim and then you find out it's false, based, I don't know, on the top 50 results that you extracted, the evidence you extract from the web, then you can also have the probability of this being false is increasing. The credibility of the source, of course, plays a very important role. And in this case, the pros could have actually the approaches. They can learn. They learn that if something is published in a source that most of the news they publish or all of the news they publish is real. Of course, it's going to have a difficulty to detect this specific. Then you need more information. Maybe the style or the evidence that is extracted can be helpful.
That's just a question. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.